Live. All right, welcome to the work session. We are, what is today? The 2nd of September. Holy cow, it's September. We will start as we usually do with our board commission interviews. Sarah, you just got here. We're gonna ask you to come on, just here, you can just sit in this chair for a minute with us.
In more ways than we know.
This is Sarah Jaskowski, who is one of the owners of Story 7. Maybe I shouldn't give all this away because you're probably gonna talk about it. But is here to interview for the opening on the Old Webster Special Business District Advisory Commission. I think I got the whole thing in there. So all we ask you to do is tell us a little bit about yourself, why you might be a good addition to the commission. We'll see if anybody has any questions.
Okay, great. Yes, so I'm one of the owners of Story 7. We're located on Gore Avenue, and I co-own it with Melanie Bennett. We've been there about 6 years, and I know it's gone really fast. Really enjoy being part of the Webster community. So far, we've been involved in the chambers a little bit, and also the trade association. And so this is also a great thing to get involved with just as a business owner.
Right. Any questions for Sarah?
Have you been?
I didn't read your.
Oh, no. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on other commissions, I know you were all dividing the
Not
organizations.
well, so in my previous time, I've been on a PTO president at girls grade school. Is that what you mean? Like, and not
Yeah,
commissions
specifically Webster
No.
Groves.
Okay,
Okay,
no,
okay,
I
great.
have not.
Melanie in the
Melanie,
trade association.
yes, yes,
yeah.
and I'm on the chamber. So
Okay,
that's
yes, okay.
yes.
Awesome.
It's great.
Right.
Thank you.
Painless. Thank you.
Thank
You will
you
hear
very
from
much.
Katie, and we really appreciate you coming on in.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're doing it's good.
Still.
Oh, thank you.
I'll second that.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Right. All right. Is there anything anyone would like to review from the regular agenda?
Bridge thing is exciting.
I'm sorry.
The bridge thing, the pedestrian bridge project is exciting.
Well,
But
answer that.
I know. Sorry, I can't. Did you see the time?
Go. Yeah. You two, hold on. We get to talk about that.
Regular agenda.
I know, but this is like a review for things you would like to change.
No, I don't.
I want to talk about it twice. Okay, good. All right. So then we will have updates. Pam, you want to start this time?
Sure.
Am I putting you on the
I have
spot?
Updates.
Okay, well, there we go.
The ARB continues to meet twice a month and they're doing great things. And last week I hosted, this is probably not an official update for Webster Groves, but I hosted a Cool Cities pop-up in U City, and 17 different municipalities were in attendance, 4 different regional organizations to talk about stormwater management. So it was great turnout and great conversation.
Green Space and Plan Commission both meet next week. Plan Commission's meeting will also include the public hearing for the pump plans. That's great. And then I went to meeting hearing testimony for the Missouri House's special subcommittee on property tax. And that was, I mean, not being sarcastic, that was really interesting to hear like all the different comments, see the big panel of state reps. So I think that they have maybe one more hearing in the state. I think there's still time to submit comments if people are interested in submitting comments. I saw a couple other Webster people there, which was exciting. This week, tomorrow is the EcoEd with sustainability and green space. It's at Brentwood Park. And on the 4th, there, Great Rivers Greenway is putting on an open house for extending the Greenway farther west, which would be really interesting, I think, for a number of people to attend. I will be at that. And that's those methods.
Okay. David, you just sat down, but
Nothing for me, Madam Mayor.
okay.
That got to me awfully fast.
You want me to skip?
No. I only have one update, so I'm sure everybody's aware that we have placed the PCEB on hiatus for 9 months. And so we'll be working with the process to see what can be developed for further use in PCEB.
All right, thank you. Marie?
I do have a couple. I was looking for an email to share so I can give a Douglas Manor update. Essentially, in short, as you all know, there's been lots of code violations, and unfortunately, the owners have not been responsive. We've been working with HUD quite a bit on relocation. Still don't have an exact count of how many people remained in the building and how many of those received HUD services, / those that were paying fair market value. So still trying to get some of that information. Been asking HUD for the last couple of weeks, and I think they're being as forthcoming as they can. Having said that, it's not incredibly helpful. We've been speaking with them, trying to make sure they would have somebody on site on September 13th, which would be the first official day the building is closed. We have not been getting responses on that. Finally got one over the weekend, thanks to Councilman Smith, who shared with me that the relocation services had already moved out of the building. We were not notified of that. So the response I was given was that the HUD folks that work on the vouchers are not allowed to interact with the relocation specialist. Don't ask me why, but they're not allowed to talk, they're not allowed to have any communication. So they forwarded my messages to those folks in hopes that they could tell me if they would be on site, if they have in fact moved. I, of course, have not received any responses. So I think at this point, we're just going to plan that there will not be anybody on site. And so we're continuing to plan internally. Neil's been incredibly helpful as we walk down that path. So that's really the update. That unfortunately, it does look like the building will be closing on the 13th without anything major happening in between then. And that we really hope that there won't be many residents this out of a home, but we will do our best to try to find places for people to go.
The last number I received from the relocation specialist was 7, but don't know if those are HUD related residents or someone who was paying full rate rent. Excuse me. But the Friday that we got the update from Dr. Peoples about that, the relocation specialist on the following Wednesday, no, that Monday, they were told that they'll be here through September 15th to 13th, or something of that nature. Then come Wednesday, they were told to pack up and be out by Friday. So that's
It's really unfortunate. HUD asked us to wait until the 12th to work with them on the state because we were prepared for some earlier action. So the fact that we did wait to co-align with their dates and that they've packed up house is pretty frustrating. But I do recognize there's a lot of things out of their control at the moment, however.
You mentioned that city's working with some community partners as well.
We're trying our best. It's been pretty difficult communications all the way around. And part of that is because whatever organization you're working with, they want names of individuals. We don't have that to share. They want just accounts on how many individuals, and we just don't have any information to share. So we'll do the best we can. Part of the concerns, as you all know, is having people without a home, of course, is a huge concern. But even beyond that, they're not going to be able to access their stuff because the building will be off limits. And so we really want to make sure that people are getting the message so that they know, grab the things that you need. Are there any agencies that can help us arrange storage facilities, that sort of thing? So there's a lot of moving parts. But a huge thanks to the internal team, both fire chief, police chief, planning department. I mean, really, each of the departments have been hands-on in some manner.
What's the response been from the owner?
We haven't heard from them.
I did. This is the first time since all this has been going on for a year and a half. Send me email, got no response. None whatsoever.
With the various summonses that have been issued, there's also been a show cause order that was issued by the court for the 10th, for the evening of the 10th. And so we'll see, but it's been crickets.
What happens as we go down this path and they continue not to respond?
Well, we have a variety of things that we can do to remediate the problem. There are expenditures that are involved. Obviously, if we do that, the hope is that they'll step up before we have to make that decision. But we have a number of things that we can do that would include even condemning the building and demolishing it if that became the case. So, again, that's not a
Let's
path.
be careful of that word.
Yes, yes. So we want to be careful about that. And that's again, but there are lots of remedies that are available if they continue to not respond. I mean, ultimately, what we would hope is that they would bring it into conformance. That's the goal.
The last conversation that I had, which has been many, many months ago, the owner's plan was to go ahead and find relocation for everyone or have everyone relocated. They did not commit to doing that. Bring it up to code, then rent the apartments again while they try and get tax credits to redo the entire building. I don't know whether that's realistic or not, but it feels like this is letting us and HUD be the bad guys in the clearing out the remaining residents.
It absolutely feels like
July of 23, I guess.
Yeah.
23 when this first started.
it's been long.
Yeah, and I spoke with the owner for at least 45 minutes. He shared all his plans and all he planned to do, which sounded good. And he didn't get approved by the state for his tax credit, so that went down. So, but reading the Times this past week, it seemed like they said they relocated everybody. They made sure people, there was an article in the front page, and then there was a response from the management, the young lady, and then the Friday news, whatever. It was just so mind-boggling to me that they would even say that. But no, they have not been responsive at all. Thank you.
That was Douglas Manor. I believe most of you this evening met David Bookless, who I think is behind me. New Deputy City Manager, Community Vitality. So if you haven't had a chance to speak with him, please do. And then lastly, carpet installation shouldn't impact most of you, but it's been going on for the last couple of weeks. It is slow, it's in phases, and it's at contractor and supply capability capacities. Council chambers are scheduled to start tomorrow. So hopefully that will all be done in time for Plans Commission and the other various meetings. So.
I have nothing to report there.
Katie? Well, but a heads up to council, Katie will be out of her office for a day or two for carpet, so if she's harder to find, that's why. I have a few things. We had a little problem with the 50th anniversary celebration invitation for the Friends of the Webster Groves Public Library. So they've asked me to do a little canvass of council. So if you would, within the next day or two, let me know if you plan to attend the event. It is September 18th at the Eden Commons, 5 p.m. I know Pam's planning on going. If there's anyone else, let me know and I'll call in a number for us all. Just a reminder, Saturday is the school district barbecue. And while council does not have a table, we did commit to showing up. I'll be there. I hope I'll see some of you there that Saturday, 11 to 12:30 at Ivory Crockett. And then I wanted to ask, is anybody else registered for the municipal conference the 15th through the 17th?
It's Sunday.
Okay. So we might get in touch to maybe do some ride sharing to St. Charles. I did hear today from the chair of the Arts Commission, if you will tentatively hold the afternoon of October 19th, they are shooting for that to be the dedication of the sculpture garden.
What is the date of October 19th?
October
Thank you.
19th. I don't have a time yet, but
Okay.
wanted to give a heads up. And then if you would like to invite anyone to coffee and donuts with the mayor, I'm going to do that on the 12th, 8 a.m. And then just September, yeah, this month. And the pool got a lot of love, but I got a peek at the ice arena today. I happened to be there and they were nice enough to let me go in there. There's no ice yet, but boy, is that nice flat concrete. It's so amazing. And most of the world doesn't appreciate that, but just wanted to say it's great. It should get its love as well. So
Are we on track for opening when we wanted to open that?
Yeah.
So far. It's great.
they looked pretty close to finish. They were doing all the painting before they make ice, so. Pretty hard to paint the stuff up high if you're on the ice to do it.
Are you doing coffee with the mayor here?
Yes, right in this very room.
You might even have new partner. Maybe.
And no jelly donuts then.
Oh, that's all right. That's better sugar.
Okay, all right. Well, our topic for today, we have, I believe, both of our, I know oh, there we go. I knew I saw you both. Both of our chiefs in the house to talk about emergency operations. And I have great confidence the two of you have worked this out. So the floor is yours.
Council, mayor, staff, thanks for letting us be here. Chief Aceves and myself are going to give you a balcony view update.
So Brett, I'm gonna ask you to either move the chair and step forward or sit in the chair so people can see you on the screen.
That way.
Otherwise, you're just a voice in
That's
the.
So this will be a balcony view of our emergency operating plan. So in less than 15 minutes, it'll be the shortest presentation you ever hear from me in the police chief. And I know that, of course. So we've worked on this together as a team for public safety as leaders here. And as we dug deep into the current one we have, the papers in the binder are yellowish. So it was time to update. And so I wanted to go through and with Vince, myself, and just kind of rapid fire, give you a balcony view of an update of where we are with document and the process. Kind of skipping to the end, right now it's a 166-page document. It will eventually make its way to Neil because there's a bunch of legal statutes that need to be inserted in there. But we really want to talk about the who, what, where, why, and how of why we need an emergency operating plan in place that's up to date. So, purpose of the EOP, it coordinates response to emergencies. And so just so you know, if we have a major event today, we are prepared as public safety. Before we dive into this, we meet and tabletop all of the major events that we have in our city, even the minor events that we have, that our teams are ready to roll. What the beauty of an EOP is that it actually is going to pull in our public works in a bigger role, our parks and rec, obviously our other city staff, our PIO. So it really firms up that all hands on deck, one team approach. Fundamentally here at Webster Groves for us is to protect lives, property, and the environment. This will align with the NIMS and ICS systems, so our National Incident Management System, as well as our Incident Command System. And again, this is a balcony view. We're not taking a real deep dive on that today. But these are also certification classes that public safety professionals go through, and non-public safety specifically. We start talking about the importance of an EOC, an Emergency Operating Center, and having a plan that's going to govern how we conduct business in the city.
Chief, we want to ask questions as you go along and wait till you're finished.
This is our time, whatever you need. That's what we're here for.
Were you ready to move to the next slide?
No, sir.
Oh, I'll wait till you finish.
We're also part of this, the purpose is to ensure continuity of government services. Clearly in a major event or even a moderate event, we're going to have our normal operations that we have to be able to take care of. And I've got a few examples on here that will help frame that up.
Here's my question.
Yes.
When you say applies to all city departments and partners, who are partners?
We are going to get there.
Okay.
But our partners being not just Auto Aid, but our local churches, Red Cross, entities that are here to come in and support the needs that our city is not capable of supporting. And the prime example here recently was what happened in Clayton with the tornado, which 4 miles south could have been Webster. Yeah.
Because in a disaster, what you're saying is, in essence, this situation it's exceeding our capabilities as a city to handle. So that's when we call and ask for all the troops to come out and assist us. So that's part of what we mean when we're talking about outside partners.
Will they include any of our vendors that we rely on for data or backup?
I'm trying to think of vendors, someone like Hoffman, if we were to reach out as we're trying to help keep our city facilities and services functioning.
Mhm.
If we lose power, we have our generator, but we have a generator issue, we would need to have our planning and logistics officer in our command post would be the one reaching out and making sure Hoffman knows, hey, we need you to come take care of us. We can take care of them.
We're taking a peek at their disaster recovery.
From Woodard, I mean, they already have all these plans set up in place, because they're there to come in and clean up everything and assist with those type of things like Woodard and such. So
So there are no third-party vendors that we depend on outside information, or we send information to be stored.
part of the plan will have a resource list.
Okay.
But in the emergency operating center, you have the actual emergency manager commander there. Incident commander, you've got your operations, you've got your planning, you've got your logistics, you have your finance. So they're a lead, and then they have branches that branch out from under them. So planning and logistics work on the things you're talking about.
Would other partners be like MSD and utilities and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the scope, it covers natural, technological, and human caused incidents. That applies to all city departments and partners. The core mission areas are ICS organization and the responsibilities. And this is a good training opportunity for all of our directors and our number twos. Our emergency operations center activation and procedures. This details this in great detail. With where our actual center would be based on our city facilities and how we would alert those role players to report to the EOC. Our public information and warning plan, I think this is one of the areas that we have an opportunity to grow the most in. Evacuation and shelter operations, resource management, mutual aid, and then the continuity of operations plan. So those are those core mission areas. So here are just examples of an FD driven event and a PD driven event. And what that just means is if we had a hazardous material incident, so we have a train derailment on our rail system. We have a battalion chief that's going to be on scene. So we activate the EOC. This is a major event to a potential hazardous material spill where we activate the EOC. So I'd be the incident commander here. That is the strategic plan where the field people are taking those, putting tactics to that strategy to make it happen, to take care. And they report back to us and say, I need St. Louis County hazmat team. I need multiple engines, ladders. I need 30 ambulances. I need 10 more police officers. And so when they tell us what they need, now we go get it. And to give you on a smaller scale, when we activate area command here in the central core, we have certain trigger points as chiefs where when we reach a trigger point, we activate area command because we know we're going to be inundated with calls, and no one city was able to handle all of those different incidents. So we work, this is already a natural thing that we do, and there will be trigger points that are built into this plan as well. PD examples, I threw out one for FD.
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah, and I'd love to speak to this, and I'd like to also go back to a couple of questions you guys asked earlier. When we're talking about an emergency operations plan, in essence, we're just kind of pre-plotting what we would do in the event that there's an emergency, including, okay, who are our contacts at the power company? If we had to immediately house or find shelter for 1,000 people, where would we put them? What are those locations? If we needed to feed them for 3 days, what would we do? Where are those vendors lined up? Obviously, our director of finance would be someone that was significantly involved in that process. But those are some of the things you do for an emergency operations plan. Now, from the PD's perspective, there's absolutely a role in there for us. It could be me as a chief of police being incident commander if it was one of these things that happened or that was going on. But it can also be this, something that you guys participate in every year. All these outdoor events that we do. So when I came into the police department, we started using the incident action plans, the ICS system to pre-plan for all of our carnivals, our parades, and everything else we're doing as a city. And this helps us all be on the same page, not only internally as a police department, but with our fire department and our external partners as well, because whenever we have a significant event in the city, let's take the parade as an example. All of our surrounding partner police departments are aware of it. We reach out to them and they are aware that in the event that there is a significant incident that happens, we're gonna be reaching out to them. So that's what this assists with as well. Thank you, brother.
The next slide is just showing what we would call unified command, wherever we're always working in tandem, but some of these events are PD driven because it's safety and security of folks, and then we're there for the rescue and the medical fire side. So the emergency management structure, those first three bullets, the Emergency Operations Center overview. So right now, the primary EOC would be the FD training room. We have infrastructure there with TVs, work boards, plenty of tables, chairs. IT is accessible if we need additional workstations. So that's our primary. We have a secondary at Firehouse 2, and we have a third at Parks and Rec. And so the idea is we have to be able to have the infrastructure and wherever we have an EOC, because we are the brains of the operation, getting the people out there what they need to take care of the people we serve. The ICS system and those roles, this spells it out. This is a great opportunity for us as a team here in Webster. When we break down, there's a strategic component, but clearly when we have our operations, we have our planning, logistics, and finance, our PIO, and our liaison to mayor and city manager and city leadership. And those are key roles because there's a huge social media and reporting component here as well. Kind of the who, what, where, why, and how, and we're still gathering information at this time. We'll update you. And that's kind of PIO 101 whenever they have the camera in your face. And so keeping people up to date, up to speed with accurate factual information, this plan spells that out really well.
What's the health part? Public Works, health, and PIO.
I'm sorry, the health part.
In the, sorry, the list of the third bullet, city manager, fire.
CIO.
We could designate a liaison to work with hospitals, especially if we have many patients. Also the health department itself. Restaurants getting back opened, being able to serve food again. Like, so that's the other component.
So that's not like an existing position we have in the city. That's somebody who would be appointed.
No,
in
no,
the
no.
case if they were needed.
All of these positions outside of the paid positions, we're pulling from our director resources and their number twos. And so they're assigned roles during the incident in an EOC.
So the PIO isn't necessarily our community,
Our public affairs.
but it could be.
It
Yes.
most likely would be, but I think health is a better example. We
Yeah.
could pull in several very people to be that, and Assistant Chief Manager would be a great.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Situationally.
It really
That's
is.
and so for that PIO, that's another great example is that there's the social media component. Then there's also someone who is trained to stand up in front of a podium and deliver up to the date, up to the minute facts. Traditionally, you hear from a mayor, you hear from a city manager, police chief, fire chiefs, and the city PIO. So, because there are times once you do that press release, everyone's kind of got their niche of what they're going to be focusing on and sharing with the community. And so the mayor might want to give an overall view of this is what we're doing, because that really funnels into that next bullet. Is that in the state of Missouri, the mayor is the head of the emergency mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery efforts, because the mayor of the city is the one who declares the emergency. That is a domino effect for additional aid and support from local, state, and federal resources.
Interruption for a moment.
Yes, please.
So there's a ton of incident command system training that council members can partake in as well. Lots of webinars, online resources. Haven't checked lately, but there used to be a lot of hands-on and in-person training for these as well. In my previous position, the board there, they all live together for a week-long training, and it's intense, it's immersive, and in that training, you learn how to take on each of these roles, because in an incident, everybody's gonna be hands-on, and maybe you are the PIO, but maybe today you're gonna do health. It really just depends. Everybody takes shifts. It was a fantastic experience. For us there, it was a little more needed because we were prone to wildfires and floods. But if this council is ever interested in something like that, perhaps not a week long, but even an abridged version, we can do that.
Yeah, and we have resources that they can bring in a day class or 2-day class. In fact, we would need to get our other directors and who they would like to have in that training up to speed as well. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, this is, to be honest, a little bit of news to me. So we don't have any mechanism right now from mayor to mayor or from our professionals to really talk about what does it mean for me to declare an emergency as mayor. And so I think as we go through this process, I think we also have to talk about how does that information get transmitted.
Yes, and clearly for myself and Chief Aceves, we talked to Dr. Peoples, and then we said we need to get with the mayor because we know we're going to have flash flood coming.
Yeah.
The July 22 floods, that's a great example. Looking back, I mean, I had been here for about 7 months, but that was that was a level 2, almost to a level 1, had it rained again before that water receded. Because we had 14 rescues at one point, multiple streets flooded, water in houses to the first floor. So our north side was really hurt bad. And so that was a level 2, but had we got another rain that day, we probably would have needed to activate an EOC to declare that state of emergency. But we can build in trigger points. And a lot of this is just being in the loop through effective communication. So, hey, right now we are at a level 3. We have a fully involved structure fire with heavy winds. It caught the second house on fire. We moved to a second alarm or a third alarm as a fire department. It's when that next major call drops, that next major incident. At that same time happens, we have someone drives through the parade in their vehicle.
Yeah.
Now we have 2 major incidents happening in our city. We're going to move to a full scale activation.
And Mayor, I love where your head is at in terms of what you said about communicating with other mayors and developing some sort of platform to kind of talk these things through and just tabletop, right? Like if this, then what? What does that look like? Because when you think about it and talk about it, that makes the response that much easier.
And then the third part, department roles and responsibilities, and this is where it's just all hands on deck. And so the EOP will spell out those different roles within the NIMS and ICS system. And then you could be in a different role you've never been in, which is actually kind of fun because you're learning something. I was a 22-year-old kid at a training at Texas A&M at their emergency operating center. And I was the PIO with a live camera on a big, almost IMAX screen with 50 professionals in a room. Youngest person there, extremely intimidating. But then I was able to gain some experience with that. So really cool experience to do that. Yeah, we can do it. We're almost done. So mutual aid regional partners, St. Louis County Office of Emergency Management, critical for this. Just so this team knows that when we have an event that is ramping up in St. Louis County, anytime the Office of Emergency Management ramps up their EOC, then we as chiefs start having conversations. And then we as chiefs with police and fire chiefs say, all right, here's our trigger points and here's what our plan is. So that kind of gives us, we're usually prepped. They're slightly ahead of us because when they activate, it's already shifting that dial for us to potentially activate, which would be a great trigger point for us to come talk to Dr. Peoples and you, Mayor. We have agreements in place already with many departments, obviously through auto aid and mutual aid, public health coordination, schools and community partners. I know I list a few places that can be shelters because they have to be able to have shower facilities and feed people. And so I list that in the EOP as well. And then SEMA, again, we have region representatives in the fire side, or we just make a call and they're our region rep and we tell them what we need and they go and they get it for us. During the tornado in Clayton, when I was at the EOC, there were 4 of us chiefs there and we were getting engine and ladder companies and chiefs from Lincoln County, St. Charles, up to 2 hours away to go to the city, which we actually became the resource pool for the city in Clayton, city of St. Louis. So there's so much aid out there that's just automatic. Those MABUS agreements with Illinois, that's one reason Dr. Peoples, appreciate that, signed it for us, because we can get aid from across the river as well.
Talk a little bit about intermunicipality aid, like my understanding was with Clayton, which is also what Brentwood, Richmond Heights, I mean, there are your city or other municipalities too. And Clayton got some of the resources because they asked first. So how, I think that's maybe another like mayor group question is like, maybe it's a city question, like how do we make sure that we're getting the resources that we need? And also like a partner to other municipalities that might be suffering through the same event.
I can speak through the FD lens because outside of that, it would be, I'm not quite sure how the public works auto aid agreements work. Dr. Peoples can speak on that, but FD, we use our auto aid every day.
Yeah.
And so the mutual aid and the auto aid is different. But auto aid, it's just built into those response needs. When you use request what you need, they're gonna start pulling the closest. And then as something gets larger, then they pull farther out. But mutual aid is more of those non-St. Louis County resources. So in July of 22, we had Saline Valley bring their boat an hour and a half away to help us rescue 14 people. And that was mutual aid. And they just showed up to help us out.
I think I am also thinking about like public works and.
There is a public works mutual aid agreements across the various cities. It is a little dated. It is currently underway and being revamped and re-signed by cities.
That's interesting. And then my other question was on the kind of, I guess the same point, how does our agreement with our use of ECDC impact or not impact the ability to be functional in a case like this? Is it important that we have fire and police under one? Is it fine if we have separate? Does that play any role in rolling out of the emergency plans or dispatches?
That is a complicated question. I'm sure in a perfect world, it would be better to have them together. However, when I look at various municipalities across the state or other states in general, that's not necessarily the case and they still respond. So I'd say however it's done, we would rely on agreements. Yeah, we would just rely on agreements. I don't know that there is a best method that is the best practice.
May I insert an aside, just because it reminded me of this? The mayor, Brentwood, the mayor of Clayton and I are all going down to Regis on September 22nd. And we missed the July tour. If any of you are interested in joining us, please let me know because I'm sure we can accommodate you. So sorry, but it triggered that. And the more we know about that, the better off we are here. So
Obviously, with area command activated, we're there. If ECDC is inundated or overloaded, then we have access to CAD to see the cache of calls that's holding. We start self-assigning units to go respond to clear calls. And so, yeah, we're all one team at that moment.
Can you do that physically from Firehouse 1 and 2, or do you need to go to ECDC to
No,
see that?
we can do that remotely. And actually, part of this would be part of the a functional EOC would have someone from ECDC come to us. If they can get to us, you're in a room with us. And now we have our communications content expert right there with us. Continuity of operations, succession planning. This is where the number 1s and 2s and then 3s, where we have to be able to make sure that our people know the document and are trained to understand what the roles entail. Essential services identification. Identifying what exactly, when we are stripped thin, what is essential to take care of the citizens of Webster Groves. So there'll be some things that may not get tended to because we need public works to clear trees out of streets so we can get emergency vehicles to people, for example. Alternate facilities, that's, the plan has, not just multiple EOCs, but alternate facilities to house this emergency management team that would be in the EOC. And then communication continuity, critical for accurate information for our citizens to know what numbers to call, what website to go visit, where to get their information. That would be critical. Public communication strategy, social media network notification mechanisms. I think this is an area, Chief's got a couple good ideas from his old neck of the woods that we can definitely improve on to get accurate information out, not relying on, say, Community Connect and such. Like, what do we really need to do to get people to know this is the plan? Here's the contacts that you. The PIO role, of course, they're all critical, extremely critical here for the social media component, as well as the message is consistent and clear throughout an incident. Those media briefings and then rumor control mechanisms. So just always the facts of who, what, where, why, how, what we know, what we're still working on. We're going to update you again in 8 hours with, you know, with a loose agenda.
Does, the only reason I'm asking this is based off the fact that the mayor has to declare the emergency. Is there succession planning, or is there a necessity for succession planning for council itself?
I think always having a backup quarterback is critical.
So the old document, it's mayor pro tem, then goes through council by order of seniority.
So the difference though is that we are a charter city with a city manager form of government. So actually under the charter, the chief executive is the city manager, who then has to get approval from council. So the city manager would be able to declare, and I looked at the statutes real quickly, you have to designate in a plan who that person is. But the city manager would be the one declaring whether or not a state of emergency exists, and then you guys would have to approve.
Because the old plan has us listed as a fourth class city, even though we were a charter city.
Right. Right. So it would be different for the statutory cities, which we're not.
Yeah, and these were pulled from
General.
six different EOPs throughout the region. One of the things here as we close is that a critical component of this is documentation. And so under planning and finance, those two in that EOC work hand in hand to make sure we have these FEMA ICS forms and these 12-hour operational periods, because that's how you go back and get what you could get reimbursed for labor hours and such. So we've come a long ways in a short time with our documentation through ICS, and we have an IAP for every event that we have here in the city. So police and fire are always in sync for this. But for something like this, you would have a designated officer, specifically field officer, that's making sure you've got the right documentation in those work periods. So what's next? Training and exercises, tabletops, compliance training for ICS and NIMS for directors and their number twos. And then we're just reviewing the EOP after the city attorney puts his stamp on it and make sure there's updates so that it's updated.
And one of the reasons that the documentation that Brett's talking about, or that Chief Ellis is talking about right now, one of the reasons that documentation is so critical in the event of an emergency, so that when we're seeking reimbursement from the federal government to offset some of the costs that we're invariably going to absorb, one of the things they're going to ask us for is the documentation. They're going to want all of these forms we're talking about, all these different ICS, all these different things that we have to use in an emergency response. They're going to want to see all those things. And if we don't have them, then that could potentially cause problems. So that's why we're such big proponents of this.
It's somewhat nostalgic for me personally and professionally, because 8 years ago today, it was when Hurricane Harvey ended for me after 8.5 days and for being at work. And we recouped over $200,000 based on for that period of Hurricane Harvey for hours and equipment. So that was critical. Recovery framework, short-term and long-term recovery efforts, damage assessments, debris management, and then FEMA, SEMA financial reimbursement. So being prepared with the documentation. whenever those agents come here and start assessing. And then the next steps is an EOP document review. It'll go to Neil for counsel, for legal counsel review to make sure all the state statutes are accurate and whatever other legal mumbo jumbo. You know what attorneys do.
So the last one was formally adopted by the council. Do we have to do that in this situation?
Yes,
So after your legal review, it will come back to us and it's finalized document?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Question. Your tabletop exercises. This building is no longer standing. What happens?
In terms of alternatives,
Yes.
I mean, so if the building's no longer standing, the first thing we, in any emergency, life safety is gonna be the first thing to consider. But if you're talking about specifically as it relates to planning, we have a number of different options. We would use one of the firehouses, we would use the rec center, and those are all things that would be pre-identified in this plan. It's final state, yeah.
Yeah, once you get, I mean,
Yeah, I think it covers the community well, but what happens if this building is not standing, what happens? I can see you need that tabletop exercises to say, what do we do in this case?
We'd have to have continuity of operations planning, and so finance, maybe they work out of Park and Rec, maybe they work out of their home, but we need someone to pay the bills, where do we all meet, locate, so that definitely would be part of what is pre-identified. That's where our mutual aid comes into place too, because it may be that we don't have any buildings at all, or maybe we just don't have power.
You know,
Yep.
Emerson, I have a question. Was I in the building when it went down?
Well, while you're doing a
Depends on
legal
week you're
review.
He pleads the fifth.
the city of St. Louis and the tornado, there were certain services that the city was in a place to provide at that time, whatever reason, and kind of local grassroots stood up in that. Food collection and distribution, helping with houses out in the neighborhoods. Who are our community partners? If we as a city get overloaded, are we in a different position because of all this mutual aid that we can run? Or do we need to really build those kind of partnerships within the community, or maybe they're already there with churches or nonprofits or school district?
I think both. I think you named the ones that are most prevalent here, school district and churches. This is where those rallying points come together. Shelters are different because you have to provide certain services, but there were totes full of soap, totes full of underwear, totes full of socks, totes full of toothbrushes. People were bringing up during Hurricane Harvey for thousands of people because we had to move thousands. And we worked with the bus system. We have Metro close, like we have moving people just to areas of refuge, then moving them to shelter. It's a two-step process, but then you have relationships with the buses. So, I mean, it gets really deep, and that's why tonight was more of a balcony view. It's layers upon layers, but the brains and command center is critical because it's the strategy for the immediacy of the operations, but then what's going to happen for the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
And I think that just to add on a little bit more to Brett's response, specific to your question, I learned a lot of these things the last 2 years before I came here. I worked in emergency management, and I led my organization through 2 significant disasters. And I learned that so if there's flooding in a large in a 3 suburb area in Cook County, and you need water and you need food, who's going to bring it first? Well, for us, that was the Salvation Army. They came out, they brought food trucks, they brought crates and crates and crates of bottled water, and that sustained us for 3 days until we could figure out how we were going to get through the next 3 days after that. And then additionally, what you're talking about, even in terms of the grassroots effort, because I'm sure you saw this as well, you have to account for this in EOP, because when people just start bringing donations in, that's another logistical nightmare. Who's accounting for that? Where are we storing it?
What are we accepting?
Yeah, what's the expiration on this? Like, so those are all things that we have to consider in this planning. So it's critical stuff.
So those things are identified in the EOP. Neil gives it a look over. It comes back to council. We approve it.
And then we have the option to consider and what that implementation might look like with not just identifying partners in the community, but engaging with them. So we're all on the same
So then
page.
you know they're written in our.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
important, that they know. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Especially, I think the school district, they're going to use their gymnasium. They need to know when there's an emergency, that gymnasium is ours.
and there's crossover too, because the emergency could be school related. That,
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, and this plan, there's no one written into this draft of the plan that wouldn't provide the service today.
Yeah,
So like, we haven't talked about using a gymnasium as a collection. So the gymnasium of the school is not written in the plan.
so like you said, the key to this, all of this is documentation and communication, so people know what they're supposed to do.
Sure. I mean, it's organized chaos, but that's why it's
Yeah.
organized. Once you get in the command center, everyone's got a role. You say, all right, good. Everyone's doing this, and then things start happening.
Well, I think you can see from some of the discussion here that people are ready and hopeful about the details. So thank you for coming first for the overview. We actually, I mean, I can't think of two better people to take this on right now, given the experience you have and relatively fresh eyes. So I guess I'll speak for everyone because I think it's probably true that we're very grateful that you dug in and are going to give us a plan that works for where we are today. I didn't mean to cut off questions. So if there's anybody else who has another question or
Well, I'm
anything else
just
you
glad,
want
I'm
to
glad
say.
it's coming to put it in documentation and we got a plan in place. I don't know if I've mentioned it several times, what happens if this building is gone. I think we're ready for the community, but there's a lot of logistics to set up to get back in operation.
Well, it's a heavy lift. It feels weighty and overwhelming, but once you have even a loose plan, people get together. It's really kind of amazing how things just start working. It's very fluid. And we already did the fun stuff. We were out in the field when that stuff happened, but now we're, for first responders, but now, you're in there and you're realizing we've got to get our people what they need so they can take care of our people out there. And
God forbid Gregory can't work.
I mean, finance. That is one of the realities. In the midst of it, the checkbook's open, and then that's why that documentation. So, but
All right.
that's a lot.
Yes. We all
Great.
are
Nice
grateful for Gregory too. That's how we're gonna sum this up. Yeah. But again, thank you both and we'll look forward to, do you have this is probably a terrible question to ask, rough timeline about when this process might be completed?
I think if we break down what completed, it's probably at least 6 months out, at least. The next probably 60, 90 days is for Neil to go through the document, see what else it needs. And then it will come back for a review. We'll give it some of our peers in the area. We'll sit down with them, compare ours to theirs and see what we're missing. Provide updates to Dr. Peoples. She can update the council and mayor. We're happy to update you as well in a setting such as this. Yeah, but I think at least 6 months.
So we're looking at it maybe March of April of next year.
6 to 9 months.
Yeah, 6 to 9 months.
And in the process, because the infrastructure is there, but in the process, now we go solidify some of those relationships in our area with the school district to say, can we list you as an option? Where are our shelters in the city? I know of a couple churches.
The
that
county's
can
involved in
function.
this too.
Right.
Right.
So there's a lot of players, a lot of layers.
And the good thing is many of these things are already happening every day in terms of what we're doing.
Right.
Every single day out there.
We're just making it happen. This will be a little more, this will be more formal.
So good.
We appreciate
Great
you.
job.
Yep. All right. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Franklin.
Thank you. Okay, appointments to boards of commissions. Sarah Jasmine is here for Old Webster. Shall we appoint Sarah?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, easy enough. Okay, we will convene in the other room. All right, welcome to our September 2nd council meeting. We are happy to hear from those of you in attendance or those of you who are online joining us via Zoom. If you would like to make a comment, so we do have a public hearing today, so if you have something to say about our tax rates, both for the city and for the library, you can make a statement during that public hearing, or if you have another topic you'd like to talk about, we'll have a general time for community comments, and you're welcome to make a public comment at that time. If you would like to do so, I'm going to ask that you fill out a card that looks like this. They're located over by the door. If you are on Zoom, we'll ask you at that time to use the raise your hand function, and you'll be allowed to speak once I've called on you. Whether you're on Zoom or in the meeting, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes, please, so that we can move efficiently through our meeting. All right, with that, we'll start with the call of the roll.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Arnold,
Here.
Councilmember Bliss.
Here.
Councilmember Franklin.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Alexander is absent. Councilmember Hickson Shepherd. Here. Councilmember Hasselmeyer.
Here. All right, one procedural question. Can we do both of these public hearings at the same time, or do we have to do them sequentially?
What? You can do the vote at the same time.
All right, then I'm going to open the public hearing for Bill number 9286, which is levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes collected for the year 2025 for the city of Webster Groves, and Bill number 9287, which is levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2025 for the Webster Groves Library District. Right, and do we have, yes, Mr. Donovan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and we do have a presentation. There we go. Mic is on, ready? Okay, excellent. Going to apologize in advance if there are a lot of numbers in the presentation. In order to keep my remarks succinct, I am not going to go over them all. So, but they are here for everyone's perusal. Briefly, when we do assessments, so that everyone, just bring everybody back up to speed, every year the personal property is reassessed. However, real estate, so our homes, the businesses, are only reassessed in odd number years. This being an odd number year, there was a reassessment. All of you being members or residents of the city of Webster Groves received your reassessment. And so it's important to remember that St. Louis County is responsible for the assessment of our homes and our property here in the city of Webster Groves. They do that assessment, and then the state tells us, so they establish a market value, and then there's an assessed value attached to that based on a percentage, which is set by the state. So for your home, easy math, if your home is worth $1 million, then you multiply that by 19%, that gives you the assessed value. And then from there, we continue the calculations in order to get down to what your actual property tax bill is. So here we have the different types of property that the state identifies. So again, residents, 19%. We have no agriculture in the city of Webster Groves that is assessed, commercial, and then et cetera. So, historic autos, if you're driving 1957 Chevy Imperial, its assessed value would be about $5,000 or somewhere in that, they're $2,000, somewhere in that department. So different rates for different items that you might have. A sample calculation, I used this back in June. The median home value in the city of Webster Groves is $371,000. So we take 19% of that to get to the assessed value. We divide that by 100, and then we multiply it by the entire tax rate for the city of Webster Groves, which is not just the city. It goes to a lot of different places, the school district, the special school district, et cetera. So the median assessed levy or tax bill, property tax bill in the city of Webster Groves is $4,800 $4,849.15. It varies in different places depending on where you live in the city. There might be other different levies involved. Where does it all go? This is where all the money goes. So this will be up online. And if anyone's really interested in wanting to find out where exactly every penny of their bill, their property tax bill goes to, here it is. Webster Grove City is down here. And the mouse is not cooperating with me. There we go. Maybe. So we're right here. Roughly 9% of the property tax bill goes to the city of Webster Groves. The rest of it goes to fund all of these different items. It's maybe easier to visualize. So the green one, the third right there, that's what the city gets out of an entire dollar. So, and then all these different other places. So the majority goes to the school district and the special school district. Our valuations this year went up, the exception of personal property. Some of them went up substantially. So our residential overall valuation went up 13.8%, commercial 15. However, in Crossroads, it went up 29%. And for residential in Old Orchard, it went up 40%. So there's just substantial increases in reassessment. I want to stress though, this is before Board of Equalization. So these are the values of the initial assessment done in July. Board of Equalization will complete their work by September 15th, and then they will issue their final valuations. So if anyone protested their valuation, their assessed value, and they go back to the county with that, Board of Equalization takes that into consideration and will redo that. That may affect our tax rates. So the tax rates that I'm going to show you is where it is based on these valuations. It could change between now and the next council meeting. Here are our new rates. So in residential, most people are concerned about our general fund is going from 0.161 to 0.147. This is the street fund is decreasing, pension going down as well. Debt service stays the same. So debt service assessment is, or tax rate is not affected by the valuations. So it does not automatically decrease as the other tax rates do. And here are the tax rates for the special business districts as well. Again, subject to final Board of Equalization valuations. The of significance is, I mentioned that the Crossroads taxing district, the valuations went up significantly. So then you see a corresponding significant drop in their tax rate. If someone challenged those valuations and the Board of Equalization changes them, this may pull that tax rate back up in the Crossroads taxing district, for example. This is where our tax rate goes. So each individual portion of our tax rate for debt service, general fund, street improvements, and pension. And then that's the percentage of the total tax rate. So our total tax rate is 0.581 on an assessed valuation of $100. Here's our history. So going back 21 years, go back to 2004, the general fund was 0.274, street improvement, pension, et cetera. And then you can see all the way over onto the right-hand side, the right column, how much the tax rates have decreased over the last 21 years. So going from 2004 to 2025, that is how much the tax rates have been reduced over that time period. And finally, for the library valuations are up here at the top. They are slightly different than ours, so the library takes in different considerations with respect to the library district. Their rates are over here, so their total rate this year is 0.7. And that'll bring in an estimated $1.8 million for the library. They have actually two separate tax rates, one their main tax rate, and then they have a temporary one that's going to pay, that continues to pay for their debt that they took out to make improvements to the library. So that's a temporary levy, which will go away in the future when that debt is retired. And that is all that I have for you. Are there any questions for me?
All right, thank you very much. Looks
Very
like
welcome.
there are not. We then will have public comments for the public hearing. I have one card related to the public hearing, and that's Mr. Dave Buck.
Hey, Buck, Colonial Village. I just, you can come back to me. I'm sorry. I just blocked it there. You can just
That's okay.
flip it off.
You know what? Do you have it in writing, Dave?
No, I just that.
If you would like to send it to us in writing tomorrow, we can use it then.
Well, really quick, 1 minute, which is my relationship to property taxes is that I pay them every year. I really don't care about. We lived here 25 years. We lived in a big house at South Elm that appreciated every year in value. We sold it in 1 day over our asking price, and everything was rosy. We paid about $13,000 in total taxes a year from our house. Exactly a year ago, in the Webster Kirkwood Times, September 24th, 2024, they wrote this: residents will see a slight increase in tax rates this year because for the first time in several years, residential, commercial, and property have lost value in Webster. That's a surprise. The decreased assessed value means that the city must increase its tax rates to fund its budget. And my question is simply, what's going on this year? That's what happened last year. What's the narrative for people like me, common resident, tax-paying citizen? What's the narrative for tax rates this year? This is what it was last year. What's it this year? And I don't know what it is.
Thank you. All right, I would now ask the city attorney to enter the appropriate documents in the record.
So I would move for the admission of the PowerPoint presentation that was made tonight on both the tax rates for the city, the tax rates for the municipal library, and the ordinances of the city of Webster.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, did you just want to ask and make sure nobody?
Oh,
can make
yes,
a
thank you. Is there anyone online who would like to make a comment for the public hearing on tax rate? All right, I don't see any hands. Thank you for that. Okay, then I'm going to ask I'm going to close the public hearing. And Councilmember Hasselmeyer, could you call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9286, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9286.
Second.
Bill 9286, first reading. An ordinance levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2025 by the city of Webster Groves, Missouri, and repealing ordinance 9266.
All right, is there any discussion? Second reading, please.
Bill 9286, second reading. An ordinance levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2025 by the city of Webster Groves, Missouri, and repealing ordinance 9266.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Franklin, could you call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9287, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9287.
Second.
Bill 9287, first reading. An ordinance levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2025 for the Webster Groves Library District and repealing ordinance 9267.
Is there any discussion? All right, the second reading, please.
Bill 9287, second reading. An ordinance levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2025 for the Webster Groves Library District and repealing ordinance 9267.
You're gonna get a workout tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're gonna move on to remarks from the community and visitors. This time I'm gonna start online. Is there anyone online who wants to use the raise their hand function to make a public comment? All right, Mr. Buck?
Brain freeze. Dave Buck, Colonial Village. I want to respond to Emerson and Marie's comment about Douglas Manor. It's really a tragedy. And I know some of the people that live there from working with Webster Rock Hill Ministries. I'm going to tell you two stories that may be part of the solution, maybe a temporary solution. They both come from my wife, Barb. When 9/11 hit, Barb on her own got her van, went out to the airport, to the international terminal. She ran in and said, "Who needs a place to stay?" She brought in 11 international travelers to our house that stayed 2 weeks. This is compassion. This is selflessness. This is caring. And then shortly afterwards, she had a retail gift store. She hired a 50-year-old Black gay man and homeless man from New Orleans who was a monogrammer. He could really monogram stuff. But he lived at the Mark Twain Hotel downtown, which is like a rat dump, okay, if you've ever seen it. And so Barb had him invited to our house. They stayed on we have luckily a third floor of our house, and Alton stayed there for a year. And the thing is, we have a lot of single family households in this town. Now, maybe it's not permanent, but maybe some of our people and our residents can maybe open up these single family households that have a vacant third floor or a vacant bedrooms, even if it's just temporarily, to help these people out. And it's like, I think the compassion and hopefully the character of our community can hopefully step up. I just live in a 2-bedroom apartment at Colonial Village, but I have a vacant apartment. If somebody wants to come and live with me for a while, and maybe for a long while, I'm open. But there's a solution if we share. And if we get focused on our common humanity. Thanks.
All right, the next card I have is from our superintendent of schools, who I think is this week 2 or 3? 3? Well, I mean, school starting, sorry, for you, that's right, I forgot, you have to work. Dr. Jana Parker, and I'm gonna use my mayoral authority, and if you would like more than 3 minutes, you're welcome to more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. I don't think I'll need that, but I wanted to take a minute on behalf of the Webster Grove School District and bring a token of appreciation that also symbolizes who we are. And it's #OneWebster. And #OneWebster really was inspired from our students and talked about coming from different elementaries. We all come together through Hickson and up through the high school. But it's not just that, it's the broader community as well. And so if I have permission, Mayor Arnold,
Of course.
I would love to come and give everyone a shirt, and we even have them for our chiefs in the back, to represent who we are. And I also hope to see you at our family picnic that will be at the Ivory Crockett this Saturday.
That's right. I know at least some of us will be there on Saturday and are looking forward to it, and absolutely. Well, and while you're doing that, I know some of us have had the opportunity to meet you and talk with you a little bit, and just wanted you to say how grateful we are that you are here, and that we are looking forward to the next the next stage of leadership for the school district. All right, anyone who was on the fence about Saturday, you just got a gift. Now you've got to come.
What's the time again?
11 to 12:30.
Okay. I have been before, it's fun.
It is fun. Okay, that is it, I believe, for our remarks. Thank you so much, Dr. Parker. That is it. Do we have any new business from council? No? All right, we'll move on. Councilmember Bliss, could you call for the third reading of Bill number 9285, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for the third reading of Bill number 9285 and its subsequent adoption.
Second.
Our mic's not working. Are it's working? Neither one works.
Mine is.
Sorry, Bill, Bill 9285, third and final reading. An ordinance authorizing the execution of a transportation alternative program, TAP, agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission to enable the city to use federal funding for the Hickson Middle School and Webster Groves High School Sidewalk Improvement Project, Project TAP-4900, parent 656N parent.
All right, is there any discussion? You all wanted to talk about it in work session, so you better talk now.
The pedestrian bridge, is that, and I don't know, I'm looking at you all like you know.
The pedestrian bridge over
Over
Highway
44
44 is not part of this.
So my mic is not working, apologies, but Sanan is here to answer any of the questions.
Sanan,
Yeah.
please join us.
Hi, Sanan.
Good evening. The bridge project is actually coming up. MoDOT has just recently contacted us. They have a multiple bridges job coming up in fiscal year 30 though. And so it's going to take some time, but also we don't know for sure that the Selma Avenue pedestrian bridge is included in this package or not. And so they are in the planning early design phases yet. And so they have several bridges along the I-44 corridor in their construction project package, but we don't know which bridges yet. So you may have seen the sketch on this, the diagram on this project, that we have an alternative. And so if the Selma Avenue bridge, pedestrian bridge, is not an ADA accessible route, we have an ADA accessible route around it that is also included, funded by the grant.
Okay. Is there any opportunity for community engagement with MoDOT when it comes to something like the pedestrian bridges? Because we use it daily and my daughter will be out of middle school by the time 2030 hits, but obviously there's going to be loads of kids who use this, and we see loads of high schoolers coming from the other side to go to the high school. So do you know what that community engagement can look like?
I'll bring this to our MoDOT area engineer's attention. He was the one that asked us what bridge treatments we will need in Webster Groves, whether we would want something that signifies our community across the highway and such. So there is certainly some discussion beginning. I'll bring this to his attention and get that response back to you.
Wonderful, thank you.
I would also suggest this might be a time that if we as council want to engage with our state senator and state representative to have them go from the other side, I think they'd both be open to hearing from us about that as well. So we can work on that.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you. That's an excellent suggestion. I don't know that MoDOT will be receptive just because of scheduling and time to have more public input. I appreciate you asking. They did do a bit of a listening session. All the days run maybe 6 months ago.
Mhm.
I met with them and their consultants, so just a virtual. And so all of these concerns, what we would like to see was brought forth.
Okay.
But the mayor's suggestion is a great one. And, writing letters and phone calls at any point in time rather than waiting on public engagement. So perhaps we could get an address where if residents wanted to send letters or emails, they could do that as well.
I would really appreciate that. And does it have to be coming, like approaching approaching Senator Beck or Representative Dahl? Do we need to be an organized, is that something I can do individually, or would it be more advantageous for
I
us
would
to?
say both.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. I will work on that then. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sanan. Thank you, Dr. Peoples.
Any other? I just had one question about the financing over time. So our commitment is $400,000 over the period of this. I think that's right. Do we already have that as part of any of our capital schedule, or is this something that we're gonna have to figure out how to accommodate along the way?
I believe it's a pay-as-you-go model that we will need to accommodate as we go along the
Okay.
way.
So, well, and part of it, it also just reminds me that this is the kind of stuff also as we think about our reserve that we need to plan, that this seems to be one of the projects that would be great to think about setting aside some of that money, because it is something that is so clearly needed.
Absolutely. And I can't speak for MoDOT, but perhaps they would be more inclined to fulfill some of our requests if we were also participating in different levels of payments.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Any other discussion of that? Then we will go ahead and have the vote.
Councilmember Bliss,
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hassemeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Arnold.
Yes. All right, we're going to go on to new business now. We are going to skip the comprehensive plan discussion for tonight. As most of you know, Monday, the Plan Commission will have its public hearing, and then it will come back to us after that. So we'll have plenty of time to continue it, and we will schedule our own public hearing once Plan Commission has completed their action. So I'm going to ask Councilmember Smith then to call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9288, please.
Yes, Mayor, I call for the first and second reading of bill number 9288.
Second.
I told you that you were going to have to work hard.
No, you're good. Bill 9288, first reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a maintenance agreement with St. Louis County related to the Big Bend Boulevard and Crossroads Business District project.
Is there any discussion? I am just going to take a moment to compliment Sanan on behalf of all the members of the Crossroads Business District Commission. They had, I think many of them, given up hope on this project, and you have been absolutely dogged in making sure that it continues to move forward. So thank you for that. Right, second reading.
Bill 9288, second reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a maintenance agreement with St. Louis County related to the Big Bend Boulevard and Crossroads Business District project.
All right, Councilwoman Hickson Shepherd, could you call for the first and second reading of Bill number 9289, please?
Yes, I'd like to call for the first and second reading of bill number 9289.
Second.
Bill 9289, first reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MSD for permanent easements for the Webster Groves Trunk E Sanitary Relief Phase 2 project.
Is there any discussion? All right, we'll have the second reading, please.
Bill 9289, second reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with MSD for permanent easements for the Webster Groves Trunk E Sanitary Relief Phase 2 project.
Mayor, sorry, can I ask a question about that? Did I miss my opportunity?
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I can't remember, did we come to a conclusion yet on is that the Kirkham bike lane discussion situation?
This is along Lorraine Davis Park, isn't it?
Okay,
So
good.
it's before that.
okay.
Oh, is this the same one? Sanan, may we have you join us? Well, no, Scott, one of you has to come forward, please. Would you help us with the geography of this one, please?
Sorry.
Two separate projects along the same general location.
Okay,
This has nothing to do with the bike lane.
okay,
This is MSD's project, which will happen.
okay. I was trying to understand those maps and I just didn't want to miss that. Okay,
MSD has defined their pathway forward. GOG has not.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have anything they'd like to remove from the consent agenda? We did do both readings, right? Okay. Nothing from the consent agenda? All right, Councilmember Hasselmeyer, could you call for the approval of the consent agenda, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to call for the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Councilmember Franklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Hasselmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Arnold.
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss.
Yes.
All right, we have appointed Sarah Jazwikowski to the Old Webster Commission. We're just gonna call it the Old Webster Commission, since I can't remember the full name at the moment. And that is our only appointment today, unless there is any additional business anyone has, we're gonna stand adjourned.
Closed session.
No, I'm doing that before I says anything. All right, thank you all for being here with us.
Right.